right. Welcome back to the Pocket Parlay podcast. Today is January 17th. I'm your host, Will Maynard, here with my two favorite co hosts, Mr. Ryan Head, Mr. Zachary Mishik, and the wild card round is in the books. We're going to kind of take a look at the games that finished off and look ahead to the divisional rounds. Obviously, we did not post last week because we had some technical issues. Um, but this week we will make sure to get these out, and I will not forget the takes that were given out last week when we look back at these games. So why don't we just go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off, get it over with. Ryan's already drinking for this. The Cowboys, Packers 48-32. I'll let y'all get y'all's piece out of the way first.
Brian, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I probably have 15 seconds. I don't know. Maybe I'll rant. I'm glad that we have breaking news. Jerry Jones announcing Mike McCarthy back as head coach of next year. I don't think that's a huge surprise. Just knowing the Cowboys organization and the way that we do things. I'm not that disappointed. I think also he's been a good coach the past couple of years. Obviously disappointing. I think the big takeaway for me was Dak can't win an effing playoff game. So at the end of the day, I think it lies on Dak's shoulders. But you also look at the game, and the Green Bay offense totally just destroyed our defense. We couldn't get a pass rush going. All around, it was just a bad day for the boys, and I think it was different than what we saw all season. So it's tough to judge them off one game, but it's a playoff game. So disappointing. And as a Cowboys fan, I know we're gonna be having this talk a year from now, but that's all I got.
Yeah, there's no way for us to really move off Dak. No GM wants to do that. I mean, he is the owner's son, so maybe he could get away with it. But you don't just go trade Dak for, I don't even know what we could get for him, maybe a second rounder, maybe a third, something like that. But our defense really let me down more than anything. And hell, Brandon Aubrey missed a field goal or a PAT. It was basically a field goal. That just shows us how bad of a game it was, how out of hand it got. I think Dan Quinn was looking for his next opportunity. He's probably out the door. I'd be really surprised if he came back. But I don't know. I don't put it all on Dak. Like Trevor Lawrence threw 4 interceptions last playoffs, and they came back and won. So I don't know.
Really had to bring that up, huh?
Somebody put that in my head, and I thought it was good. Like the defense held him to 3 points in the second half. Like he threw 4 interceptions. I know Dak threw how many pick sixes, but
1.
It's just
basically 2.
Yeah,
Basically.
it's just a hard one to get around. But
I just want to say the idea of trading Dak is, I think, insane. Like, when's the last time a top 10 quarterback got traded?
I
It
know,
doesn't
but
happen.
it
It's
doesn't.
never gonna happen. It's not gonna. A $40 million quarterback doesn't get traded, and he's got 1 year left on his deal. Like, it's either we re-sign him or we don't re-sign him. And I
We're
think
gonna resign him.
yeah, we're gonna re-sign him.
We
So,
have
but
so many
we're
people to
never
pay.
gonna trade him. Like, you don't trade a top 10 MVP type season quarterback. Like, I don't think that's ever happened. Maybe it has, but
Man, if you want think about something worse to like really dig it in, is like look at the people we have to pay next year.
Oh,
I think it's near like 13, 14 people. It's a
I'm
lot.
I'm gonna get into it.
All
I
right,
will
kick
say
off.
this.
I'll bend over for you.
I'm surprised y'all like didn't really mention the game that much. Zach, you mentioned it more. When I look at playoff games, I look at like, did this team lose it or did this team like win the game? That makes sense. It feels like this was both. Like, yes, the Cowboys played horrible, but the Packers have been hot lately. Jordan Love has showed that like he may be the franchise guy. Um, but at the same time, CD, who led the NFL in receptions, like him and Dak were just not on the same page to start off the game.
That was
Uh,
weird.
it just felt weird from the beginning, and it was also one of those blowouts where like my jaw just felt like it was dropping every time the Packers touched the ball because it was these explosive plays after explosive plays. Um, but to kind of touch on what y'all said, I kind of see why Mike McCarthy's staying because you run it back one more year with Dak and Mike McCarthy. I don't have any expectations for y'all next year. I think the championship window, like you said, is closing because now you got to pay all these people. Um, and I feel like next year it's almost a guarantee. Dak won't get re-signed. Mike McCarthy will get fired. You start over with a new coach, a new quarterback, and just almost kind of reset. Um, I will say this though, after watching this weekend, are we gonna go in saying Dak's a top 10 quarterback next year? Because I mean, C.J. Stroud is just constantly jumping. Jordan Love, if he, I mean, he probably won't be the 49ers, honestly, but
Top 10 regular season. Top 10 regular season
Yeah, I
okay,
mean,
quarterback.
he almost won an MVP this year. Like
he
if it wasn't
was,
Lamar, it was Dak. Or I mean, maybe he was third in odds to end, but like he was a top three in MVP.
but we're also
Uh,
talking about a year in which Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow, Justin
yeah,
Herbert, like a
what
bunch of
is
guys
Aaron
win.
Rodgers going to be in consideration for next year?
We're talking about MVPs. He won MVP 2 years ago, so it's not crazy to think about. Um, but no, I think yeah, this game was like the window closing. It just showed Dak can't get it done. I felt bad for y'all. I went on Twitter during the game and saw playoff Dak was trending, and it just. I know everyone loves to crack the show on the Cowboys, and y'all kind of have it coming. Because by the way, in case y'all don't remember, Cowboys were both of y'all's Super Bowl picks. Bracket busted.
Yeah.
Um, but the hate that came after this game was bad. The score says 48-32, but I think all of us would agree like game was over when it was 27-0 or
It was over in the
48-16.
first. We didn't
Yeah,
stand a chance in that game.
it was bad. But I will say I think this also says not just about the Cowboys, but the Packers are going to be one of those like bright future teams next year. When we look back, they now have a playoff win under their belt, young wide receivers, good run game, great quarterback. So I think congrats to the Packers. I know y'all won't say that, but we'll move on from this game now. All right, we can stop stabbing at your heart. And a game that we all got wrong. The Texans destroyed the Browns. The
Crazy.
Browns, yeah. After watching y'all's game and watching the Browns Texans games, I thought about the saying championship wins or defense wins championships. And y'all caused the most turnovers on y'all's defense. The Browns were like the number one statistical defense, and both got destroyed in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think we all said last podcast that didn't get uploaded that Joe Flacco could have 5-6 turnover worthy plays, and it seemed like in this game they just seemed to catch up to him with the two pick sixes back to back, basically ended it right there. But Zach, what was your feeling about the game, and why did all three of us get it wrong?
I don't know. I heard something about like I said it, but I got talked out of it. I wasn't that heavy on the Browns or heavy on the Texans, but I was like, what if Joe Flacco goes in there and throws 3 picks? But he's never lost in the wild card. He's never done anything. They had a great defense. It's just I think it's playoffs is different. Playoffs are just crazy. Texans have been itching for a great win, a great hell a playoff game. Look at the Detroit game, how electric that was.
Yeah,
So I don't know. That's basically my takeaway. And CJ Stroud, even though he had a lower PFF than Jordan Love, I think he played a great game.
electric. I will say, I also saw an interesting stat that I wish I knew before the game. Is that of all the offensive tackles that go up against Miles Garrett, Laramie Tunsil allows like a 2% pressure rate, which is insane going up against Miles Garrett.
Oh, that's him.
Oh,
You remember
yeah,
that?
let the man use a gas mask. Ryan, what was your takeaway from this game?
Um, I don't know. Like this was a weird game to me. I didn't see it coming. Neither none of us really saw it coming. I thought the Browns defense was going to be able to stop rookie quarterback and like young offense, but CJ Stroud was on point the entire game. He had a couple big plays to Nico Collins, and then he had that huge play to the tight end. I can't even remember his name, but he went off for like a.
Schultz. I
It wasn't
mean,
Schultz. It
oh, Brevin
was
Jordan.
yeah. He had like a 75-yard touchdown. Anyway, The offense was on point. The run game looked fine with Singletary. I'm excited about this game against Baltimore this week. I think there's a chance for another upset. Yeah, I don't know.
Line's
Like,
moving.
I think it was for me, it was more of a stinker on the Browns' part, like for them not to be able to stop the Texans' offense like that. And then obviously they had the offensive mistakes, but the defensive side of the ball was what was most surprising to me.
To a game now that we all got right, probably needs little analysis. Chiefs versus Dolphins. Chiefs
Cold
26,
weather.
Dolphins 7. Yeah. My analysis on this game was if you're watching this on Peacock and you actually watched the whole fourth quarter, you wasted your time. So I went on Peacock and went and watched the new TED TV show. Way more interesting than watching this game. Tua, I have seen the two most interesting things about this game is like the contract situation that'll come out with Tua, but that's more of an off-season topic, and the fact that 15 people had to go to the hospital for hypothermia after this game.
Oh, I did not see that.
The
Dang.
15 dumbasses that took off their shirts. Like,
Wait, did you mean players or like people in the stands?
Fans of the game.
Oh, I thought you meant players. It's like, dang.
Yeah, we don't care about the fans on this show.
Nah, I don't care.
especially
Uh,
not Chiefs.
did y'all have anything to add to this game? This kind of went the way we all predicted it.
Yeah, I think it's just the way we thought. Bad weather. What's Tua will always have this. He's like kind of having that Dak narrative built up. Like he'll never do it in the cold weather. Like I don't know if they get home field advantage. Like maybe the weather will be so good that they'll be able to run their crazy offense that they always want to do. But that's the way I think of it. I don't think Tua had a crazy bad game like to really put him out of contention. But
Yeah.
For me,
Uh,
Chiefs side, it's playoff Chiefs, playoff Patrick Mahomes. And then it's cool seeing Rashee Rice like really step up over the past couple weeks. I think he's going to be a dog for him because they haven't had Kelsey the past couple weeks. Like he just hasn't been old Kelsey. And then Tua, like I still like Tua. I mean, I feel like we've had more crazy weather games early in the postseason this year than we've
yeah.
had in years past. Like for any quarterback to go out and play in that kind of weather is really difficult. And then you're talking about a guy that's from Hawaii, plays in Miami, went to
Went
school
to
at
Alabama.
Alabama. Like
Yeah.
he's not used to it before, so I don't think it's fair to judge him as a bad quarterback or somebody who can't win in the playoffs because he lost in this game. Maybe it's fair to say he can't play in cold weather, but once again, I think like this year was just a weird year for weather. But yeah, that's all I really got.
he can't play below 70 degrees. He's a
Hey
I'm
man,
sure
that
he can play in cold, but I mean that was like a ridiculously cold game. And when I mean Pat Mahomes has been in Kansas City for like 5, 6 years now, so he's used to it. He's practiced in it before. Tua never has.
maybe Tua can always go to the USFL, play in the spring. Nice
Stop.
weather.
that's a
Uh,
good take. I love that. That was a good one.
Stop.
uh, moving on. Probably the best game of the weekend. Lions Rams. I picked off vibes. This game came out looking good, looking clean. Um, Lions 24, Rams 23. Lions looking like team of destiny. What do you, Ryan? Why don't you start us off on this one?
Yeah, I had the Rams winning and unfortunately missed that pick once again. Lions look good. Um, who's that dude on their defense though? That's a dirty player that took out Tyler Higbee, and
Is it
then
Brian?
that
Oh, was
Brian?
that
it's like their
CJ?
safety.
Was it Brian Branch?
No, it wasn't Brian Branch or CJ. Hey, CJ.
Uh, no, I don't know. I don't know who it
I know
was.
what you're talking
That was
about.
a nasty hit.
Yeah. Kirby Joseph. Kirby Joseph.
Dude,
Maybe he's a cornerback, but
Hey Zach, you got to
anyway,
give
I
us some
like
picks, man.
seriously. No, I like that Lions team. It was kind of disappointing. Like for me, it was just kind of a letdown by the Rams. Like I thought they could have executed better, like multiple times on in that game, and they just didn't. So lines look good though. It'll be interesting to see what happens this next week.
It is I think home field advantage really played a factor in this one. That was electric to even watch, let
Yeah.
alone if you were there. Like having Eminem be there and then just everyone else, like first playoff game in how many years, especially home playoff game, like that's insane. I don't know. The biggest thing I got taken away from this is Matthew Stafford staying in the game, even though he was like eyes back in the head.
Unconscious, completely
Yeah,
unconscious.
Had the
they got
hands
that
like
new.
this.
They actually had the Tua hands going on. They have this like new referee that's like supposed to like just sitting there watching for concussions, and he pulled out
Apparently,
Puka Nakua in the middle of a play when he looked perfectly fine, but just like Stafford's good.
apparently, like the way to get around it, because after listening to like Amendola and Julian talk about it, they would like tell each other, "Hey, grab your knee. It's this time of day." And so if you watched Matthew Stafford as he walks off, he's like holding his shoulder, his elbow, like so like you don't look at him. Like it's a crazy world. Like, because what do you do? Take him out, and then you got a few plays of their backup. Like that changes everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um. This was easily the best game of the weekend. It kind of felt like the world was rooting for the Lions here. It's like little brother finally growing up after. Well, I think the last win was 30 years ago. Um, I don't know if y'all caught at the very end of the game when they said text a Lions fan happy playoff win because it was the first time they'll ever get that text message. So last time they won a playoff game, there was no text message. But I don't know. I feel like Lions just give me that like team of destiny vibe. And now they got the Buccaneers next round. I will say this will be really embarrassing for the Cowboys if they make it to the NFC Championship game before y'all do. But I
Better
will say
coach, better offensive coach,
better
better.
off, yeah. And it also was a little disrespectful after the game. One of the players said they were upset that the Packers beat y'all because they wanted to be the ones to knock you out of the playoffs. Little bit disrespectful. Probably should have focused on their opponent ahead. But it's nice to see someone who doesn't get success finally win. So
Yeah,
that was all my analysis for the game. Jared Goff looked sharp. Puka Nakua went off though. Shout out to him, offensive rookie of the year, or CJ Stroud, yes.
yeah.
Um, to another game we all got right. By the way, I do have our records after the first round, so I will be exposing someone here. Um, Bills 31, Steelers 17. This was boring as shit to me. I mean, Josh Allen made some big plays. They kept cutting over to Mike Tomlin getting upset and George Pickens throwing his helmet. And I just kind of sat there. I'm like, what did you expect to happen with you're playing your backup quarterback and no TJ
Third
Watt?
string quarterback.
Yeah, third string quarterback, no TJ Watt. Did Minka Fitzpatrick play or
Yeah.
has he been out?
One that
He
missed
played.
the tackle. What that little wide receiver took
Yeah.
it to the house.
So but
This
I mean, even though he
sorry.
played, like this was a year one away game. You were the 7 seed. You had your third string quarterback. You had no TJ Watt, your best player. Like crazy to think that you would have lost by 14. Um, so that was all my analysis for this game. I was just kind of waiting for it to get over to get to the main event on Monday night. But did y'all
Yeah, this was a
put away?
look ahead game for me. Just like thinking about Josh Allen, like is this the Josh Allen that's going to go into next week? That's I feel like a lot of people. And then on the Steelers side, I feel like they were just going to run the ball, and if they got lucky on a few breakaway plays, and then throw some play action in there. And talking about George Pickens, he complains a lot for being the like kind of a low end wide receiver. I feel like talking about playing the Chiefs or playing the Bills and the rest, it's going to be a hard game. I don't
That
know.
I guess when you come from Georgia, you just expect success. But Ryan, did you have anything to really add to this game?
boring game. I mean, it's the Bills,
Yeah,
and it's basically the Bills of the past, and they have a run game. And then it's the Steelers who have gone through three starting quarterbacks this season, including Mitch Trubisky. So who started like multiple games for them. So
yeah.
like to even think that they were going to go in this game and have a shot is crazy. What
Um,
happened? What should have happened happened.
Yeah, I did see this was the most 10 plus or 14 plus wins in Wildcard Weekend ever, which really sucks for us fans trying to watch good games. But before we get into looking into next week's games, we have one more to cheer you boys up. Buccaneers 32 to the Eagles 9. Zach, what? Tell me, how are you feeling after this game? Did you wipe away a tear of happiness?
No, honestly, the whole rest of the playoffs just meant nothing to me. Like I haven't really looked at the next week's playoffs. Like it's just over for me. I'm like checked out. Like it's
Wow,
just over.
you're a great analyst, by the way.
I'm just saying it was that much importance to me that Cowboys like how many like I don't think a lot of Cowboys fans have fully grasped the idea that we're not playing next weekend. We already looked ahead for that. It's so hard. But anyways, I don't know. Philly lost. They are. I feel like they're in a worse position than the Cowboys, so that's the only positive to look at. Cowboys can still win the division next year. Are we thinking Commanders are going to do it? Like that's my only takeaway.
Uh, Ron, you want to go? You want me to give my
Yeah,
two
go for it.
cents?
Go for it, guy.
I mean, this is the Eagles team that's shown up like the last 6 weeks that like been playing bad to end the season, and then you play bad to start the playoffs. You're gonna lose. I'm happy for Baker Mayfield. He was out there having fun at least, but
Yeah.
I mean they felt like for after 10 minutes of the game, the Buccaneers pretty much just dominated Philly on every drive, and you know you're gonna lose when you see the tush push fail on the 2 yard line. The only other takeaway I have is it's sad that Jason Kelsey is going to retire. That's going to hurt next year.
He hasn't yet.
And
He hasn't yet. The podcast
sorry.
today.
Even
He
though he
hasn't.
cried and kind of acted like he was about to retire, I think my honestly my biggest takeaway though is someone pointed this out is that their offensive line is kind of reminds me like the Cowboys. Big names, good players, but they're getting really old. And when you get old and you play 17 games in a season and you got to go into game number 18, it just takes a toll. And it felt like their offensive line kind of showed their age this game with how many times Jalen Hurts got sacked. So they definitely have a lot of question marks, but good on the Buccaneers for the win.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, Maynard. I just want to add, I think they're definitely going to be looking at Nick Sirianni this offseason and trying to figure out whether he's the coach moving forward or not. Like I've heard a lot of Eagles fans complaining basically all season about like the play calling and what the offense is doing. And that's on him. Like he's changed OCs. Did he change OCs or defense
That's a
coordinators?
Matt
Both.
Patricia.
Both.
Okay, yeah. Like he's tried, but it's not working, and they skidded hard at the end of the year. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with him. And then on the Buccaneer side, agree with you, Maynard. It was cool seeing Baker Mayfield have some success again, have that swagger.
Mhm.
Um, I'm excited for this next week. Like, that's not a horrible team. But we'll talk about that later. But yeah, no, it was cool seeing Baker have fun out there.
Yeah. Um, And I've been also looked on some Philadelphia Twitter like you, and they have been saying for a while that he was a Shane Steichen kind of merchant because of how good their offense was. Also, I didn't mention this a couple weeks ago, but I thought it was funny. I saw all year long how, or all off season long last year, about how Eagles fans were so happy Jonathan Gannon wasn't the defensive coordinator anymore uh, after the playoffs last year, and then he coached Arizona and then beat Philadelphia with that horrible Cardinals team this year. So I the coaching carousel is going to be a really good one this year with how many openings and the coaches that are available.
Yeah,
So
for
we're gonna
sure.
have some great offseason episodes.
Yeah, Vrabel. That's probably my
Vrabel,
top choice.
Belichick,
It's not
Harbaugh.
Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Can we do a quick 30-second guess? Everybody go. Like, where's Vrabel gonna go? Because he's not going to New England. Me and you were talking about this, Maynard. Like, where does he
Yeah.
end up?
Uh,
I can't even. I thought
if
Cowboys
I
were
think
going to be the option, but it's not there.
I think he'll take the Eagles job if it becomes available.
I was thinking that too. I was thinking he could end up with the Eagles.
If he takes the Eagles job, y'all,
Yeah.
Philadelphia might be
Yeah,
like, what's that statistic?
because they have
a
that.
team hasn't won back to back
Yeah, no one
NFC
has.
East titles in like
Both the
20 years.
Titans and the Eagles both have that like hard nosed, tough defense, run game mentality. Like that would make sense to me.
Yeah.
And they could go get him.
All right. Moving on to the divisional round. We're going to start off with the Texans and the Ravens. Ravens are -9. Um, Zach, why don't you start off? Give us. Oh, wait. By the way, first off, our records after the wild card round. None of us were great, but me and
Fire
Zach sit
picks.
at. Me and Zach sit at 3-3. Ryan, you suck. You're at 2-4. I will say, at least when we did our bracket challenge, I was trying to look back, see what our brackets were. Zach had the Rams and the Cowboys in the NFC Championship game, so that's out. And then I think you had Chiefs and Ravens in your
Let's go.
championship in AFC. So at least you got that, Zach. Ryan, I think you had Cowboys 49ers, so we all pretty much suck. I think I got Lions and 49ers in my NFC championship, so I'm looking
That's probably likely.
like quite nice, quite nice. But
Um,
honestly, doing a bracket for NFL is kind of stupid, just because matchups can change and based on seeding. So, um, we're gonna remember those records. Me and Zach 3-3. Ryan sucks at 2-4. We'll see how long we can go all the way up to the Super Bowl. But
I'm gonna lose sleep tonight.
you're gonna, yeah, knowing he cannot pick playoff winners.
It's okay.
That's a
Um,
Cowboy tradition.
But going to
Um,
the Texans game, just to go
yeah.
in there. I think the line opened at 10. It's crazy how it's gone to 9. I don't think I like +9, but who's going to advance? I think it's going to be Baltimore. I don't think CJ Stroud will get the easy run attack this game. Will Singletary's just breaking loose like once a series. So I'll take Baltimore, but I'll also take what's it? You know what? Let's just do it. Texans +9.
Okay, but Ravens advance, and
Yeah.
we'll remember that. Ryan, what are you feeling here?
Yeah, I want to take the Ravens plus money or even go crazy and take the money line or sorry, Texans plus money or money line, but I don't think I can do either. That Ravens team is just so good. Like that defense is so physical, and the offense has just been clicking for basically the whole season. So yeah, I've got to take the Ravens, whatever they got.
Uh, I'm gonna go. It worked for me last week, and I'm gonna go a little bit off analysis, a little bit off vibes here. And I'm gonna take Texans plus money. Texans to advance. I've been doubting CJ Stroud
To
all
advance,
year. To advance.
No, don't,
Only have
no, don't do it. You're
matchups.
gonna kill him. You're gonna kill
No,
him.
no, no, no,
You
no,
know what
no.
wow,
happens when you hop on the bandwagon.
No,
wow.
no, no, no. All
We
right,
like
and you
this
know,
guy. We like
and
him.
the analysis part of it actually comes from you, Zach. You
Okay.
talking about rest versus rust. They rested week 18. They
Okay.
didn't play last week. This is the first football game they played in 3 weeks, and the Texans just played their best football game. I also saw a statistic where I think CJ Stroud's only thrown like 2 picks, when being blitzed, and Baltimore obviously blitzes a lot. And so I don't know. That's for the vibes, for the culture, for the Stroud boys. I'm gonna stand up for the Texans.
Okay.
Big upset coming. So
I like the rest versus
Think we all want that to
rest.
happen, so that'd be cool.
it would be cool.
Hey, we're Texans fans anyways, right, Ryan?
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus Christ. Next game up, Packers, 49ers. San Francisco also favored by 9. I think we're all in agreement here, but I'm gonna let Ryan. What are you taking here?
I hadn't looked at the spreads before we were meeting here today, so it's interesting to see that both the Texans, Ravens, and the Packers 49ers are the same. I feel like the 49ers just beat the brakes off the Packers. Like if the Cowboys had played cowboy football, or they had played how they did in week 15 or 16, or like if they had played the way they had been playing previously, we wouldn't have seen the game that we had saw. So I think the 49ers play 49er football and they just beat the dog crap out of the Fat Packers. So give me the 49ers.
Are you taking -9 as well?
Oh yeah. Minus whatever.
Yeah, our dub club is basically pointless for this Sunday, by the way. We're giving out all our picks right now. But still subscribe anyways.
Tune in.
Let's go with, yeah, I agree with Ryan. 49ers minus whatever. If it was 10, I think it opened at 10, or one of them did. I think I'll go plus 10 because that's a football number, but I don't know. I think they're just going to get whomped. But this is another Russ versus Russ thing, so
Yeah, I'm taking rest here. I'm taking 49ers to beat the living shit out of the Packers.
Yeah, I mean, it should happen.
I mean, the Packers are since they've been in the playoffs, they've been playing with house money. They were the youngest team to ever make the playoffs in the modern era against a team that has a lot of playoff experience and a good coach with a good offense. So I'm also taking San Francisco -9 and to advance. Moving on to Sunday, first game up, Buccaneers Lions. Lions -6.5. That's a lot larger spread than I thought it was going to be. But I'm gonna ride with the Lions here at home. I think the idea in those Detroit fans' brains of potentially a Detroit going to an NFC Championship game after not having a playoff win in 30 years is just on their minds, and they're gonna go crazy again. I'm assuming Eminem's gonna be there again, Ninja's gonna be there again. They're all gonna show back up and go absolutely wild. Um,
what a crazy fan base. Like you got Nim and you got Ninja. That's who we're talking about.
That's the lineup.
It's very, very weird. But I'll take Detroit, and I'll take Detroit -7.5.
6.5. I'll take Detroit minus 6.5.
Yeah,
Yeah,
6.5.
nothing more to it besides home field advantage and
Yeah.
the better team, better quarterback, better all around.
Facts. Brian?
I don't have a whole lot of analysis to go into this because it's just an upset pick, but I think Tampa keeps rolling. They find a way to stop Jared Goff. I feel like the Lions relied a whole lot more on their run game earlier in the season, and then after David Montgomery got hurt and they started relying on Jahmyr Gibbs. I know he's back now, and they use both of them, but it feels like they're throwing the ball a whole lot more, and that doesn't. For me, if the Lions were a little bit more balanced, and both Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs were getting 15 to 20 carries a game, I feel better about it. But I think Jared Goff's going to make mistakes. I think Baker Mayfield's going to look special in the playoffs, and they pull off the upset.
All right. And then going on to the game, I think it's the only game that we all predicted was going to happen correctly. Chiefs versus Bills. Bills -3. This is Patrick Mahomes' first road playoff game in his career. I'm going Bills -3, and I'm expecting. I actually think Bills could blow out the Chiefs. Just because it's going to be cold. Kadarius Toney already can't catch, and stopping Rashee Rice, I feel like is going to be much easier than trying to stop, prime Travis Kelce. Holy shit, Zach! How many times is your computer gonna ding?
The
Dude,
thing
you-
is, I'm on the same group text, so I'm getting the same text, except my phone's not ringing.
my laptop.
Cautiously.
I got a Mac, so it's like connected, and I had to like mute each group text.
Jesus
It's about the
Christ. Well,
math.
that I'm taking Bills -3, moving on, advancing. Simple as that. Screw you, Mahomes.
Yeah, I think it's the year that Chiefs don't have the strangle, get the luck against the Bills. I think Josh Allen finally makes it. He gets it. He gets past the Chiefs. Give me
Hold
Bills
up.
-3.
Hold up. I was predicting like who I was going to be able to pick. In your bracket, you had this matchup happening and you picked the Chiefs 1 week ago to go to the AFC Championship game.
Dude, I'm trying to get ahead of you in the record book, so I have to.
So you're riding the same picks as me.
Oh,
Okay. Well,